rolling into hour number 2. I'm Peter Schrager in for Greeny. This is Vince Goodwill. This is Monica McNutt. And we've got Tim McMahon on the show who will be joining the discussion as well because we are starting on the hardwood in the NBA with the comeback of the night. Cade Cunningham returning as the Pistons hosted the Bucks. There's Cade. First time on the court since March 17th when we got the collapsed lung news. And he looked good in his return. Finishing with a tough bucket inside here. It was early on his first points of the return. Then we see the defensive play here by Sir Thompson. Gets the ball up. And there's Cade Cunningham on the alley-oop, getting up and elevating. Becomes the first Piston with back-to-back 1,500-point seasons since Jerry Stackhouse did it at the turn of the... What's up, Stack? Pistons would roll in this game, and Cade looked good. They closed out the quarter on a 22-8 run and would lead by 18 at halftime. Then they poured it on in the second half. Watch this here. This is a three-point shot from good. Cunningham would have 13, but then the exclamation mark was here. That's Jalen Duren in transition, slamming it home. Pistons rolled 137 to 111. Bring Tim in as well here. And I turn to you, Mr. Vince Goodwill. What was your biggest takeaway from Cade's return to the floor?
He looked like himself. Like, you wonder about a player's conditioning. He only played in 5-6 minute spurts. They wanted to keep him between that 20-25 minute range. He looked like a player that didn't miss a month with the type of injury that he had. Of course, they're going to be very close with how they monitor him. You have to be careful with the next 2 weeks or so because they're going to go a length of time without playing a game because of the play-in. But this Pistons team looks like they've added a dimension over the past month. They're shooting 40% from three over the last 20 games. Peter, they were one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the NBA up until that point. So now that they've added that dimension, their defense is still there. You're looking at a team that could be primed to make an Eastern Conference Finals run.
Tim, I want to ask you because you're getting in here for the first time. Look, he was gone and we had concerns, but they were steady with him out. What do you make of this Pistons team as we head toward the playoffs now with a healthy Cade Cunningham?
Yeah, great to see Cade back. I thought he was solid in his return. The Bucks are a nice team to kind of come back and chip a little bit of rust off at this point, let's be honest. Obviously, look, unfortunate that he had to miss the time, probably going to get screwed out of the All-NBA award that he certainly earned. There is a silver lining, though. The fact that they were able to play without him, to win without him. Dennis Jenkins' emergence.
Yes, he did.
And the way he excelled in that primary initiator role. The biggest question about the Pistons was who other than Cade can initiate offense, can create. If they force the ball out of Cade's hands in the playoffs like you expect defenses to try to do, how can the Pistons take advantage of that? Jenkins' emergence during the time without him could pay massive dividends for Detroit down the road.
Yeah, Jenkins stepped up. And, Monica, that's a great segue because you almost think, all right, we had a month without Cade Cunningham. Could that actually benefit them in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it has. I mean, if you go back and look at that 11-game stretch, Dennis Jenkins had double digits in all of those games. Like last night, he had 9 when Cade Cunningham returned. But prior to that, he's been the guy. It includes a 30-point performance in there as well. And so I think, Vince, you said it earlier, they acknowledged how much they leaned on Cade. And this opportunity forced this team as a collective to sort of stretch their wings and see what else is available. I think the other part that is as important, and yes, Cade is the first guy you think of when you think of health, but down the stretch, they've had sort of a hodgepodge of guys been out. Duren, Stewart here, there, Tobias Harris here, there. Like, so with the play-in week, as they get healthy and become whole again, like we're looking at this team potentially playing some of its best basketball at the right time.
Yeah, number 1 seed in the East. Despite sitting in the 4th seed in the East, Cleveland has the second best odds to win the East. We're going to show some highlights from them. Cleveland versus the Hawks. Cavaliers have a lot of questions whether they can win a big game when it matters. In the meantime, how would they handle upstart Atlanta? We look early on. Oh, Donovan Mitchell. Unbelievable move here. And then the finger roll at the rim. Bucket. Atlanta was leading in this game, though, and here is our guy that has been just stepping up. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, if you've not been watching the Hawks, has been outstanding this season, especially the second half of this season. And Dyson Daniels, he gets the loose ball. He puts it up. Hawks were winning on the road in this one. Third quarter, Cavs would catch fire and do so with some amazing jump shooting. There was Donovan Mitchell. Here is James Harden right from the front. And then watch Harden again here. Crossover, 3, good. And then Mitchell puts a move on Corey Kispert that they felt up at Gonzaga. Look at this.
That third quarter was crazy in terms of the efficiency from the three-point line for the Cavs.
They outscored the Hawks 44-20 in the third, but the Hawks would come back. Here's Alexander Walker again. Remember, this was a game that they were outscored 24 points in the third, and then at this bucket here, Kuminga with the dunk. It's a 2-point game late. So, 2-point game. Atlanta has the ball on the road. Young team. Alexander Walker turns it over, and that would be all she wrote. Cavaliers would take care of business. And as I referenced, Cleveland, despite being the 4 seed, Vegas likes them. They have the second best odds to win the East at plus 360, according to DraftKings. The Cavs now sit a half game back of the Knicks for the 3 seed with 2 games left in the season. Monica McNutt, everyone seems to be high on Cleveland, yet not to put some cold water on this, you're not buying them just yet.
I'm not, and I can't because of the layout in the Eastern Conference. They have not shown me to be the second best team in the Eastern Conference. Have they played good ball? Has James Harden made sense? Yes. But I'm also hesitant to buy that you add a star of James Harden's caliber, even though he's in a different role at this point of his career, and expect it to work year one. When I look at the other teams that Cleveland has to navigate around, they've got cohesive units that have been together and are familiar with one another in postseason basketball in particular. I think when you look at that suggestion that they would be second to come out, that's as much about their path than it is more than what they've actually done so far this season. And that means people are still iffy on whether or not you buy the inexperience of the Detroit Pistons.
Tim, what do you make of the Cavs of it all? Obviously, we know about Harden and Mitchell in their playoff past, but can they get over the hump this year?
Skeptical. I'm honestly surprised that they went all out to win this game. I was looking at the injury report all day. Donovan Mitchell was questionable. I was surprised there weren't other key guys on that injury report, for the simple fact that the Cavaliers kind of had a chance to decide how the bracket was going to look. If they lose to Atlanta, they got a couple games here. If they lost to Atlanta, they could say, hey, we're going to lock into the 4 seed, be on the opposite side of the bracket from the Boston Celtics. Winning this game puts the Cavs right on the heels of the New York Knicks, and I don't know if you want to move up to number 3, to be honest with you, just because I'm not sure you want to be on the same side of the bracket as the Celtics and potentially have to start the second round in Boston. But the Cavs decided, you know what, we want to be playing good basketball going into the playoffs, and however the seeds fall, they fall. They're worried about themselves, clearly. It's
so interesting. We talk about tanking all the time, but the playoff positioning is another conversation. What do you make of it all and avoiding that Celtics team but saying, bring on the Pistons?
I think it is fascinating to me that you are saying, you know what? We're going to go play the team that's going to go beat us up. Who's signing up for that? Who's signing up for a 7-game war against a team whose greatest superpower is making sure that you play less than your best? And it's making sure that you come out of there with whelps and scars.
Bruised and battered.
You go into a locker room after a team plays the Pistons, and if a dude is light-skinned, you're going to see exactly where he was hit.
Here you go.
All right? No, I'm just saying it's what it is. And for me, you're tempting the basketball gods by saying we're so afraid of the Celtics that we would want to play one of the best defensive teams in the league, a team that is scarred from last year's playoff experience, and a team whose star is eager to make a MVP type of run. I'm going to say this to everybody. The Eastern Conference is going to be a bloodbath. We talked about the West earlier.
Physical.
There is no easy path.
Yeah, there's no easy.
Through anyway, even the first rounders of the playoffs, if you got to deal with Charlotte or Atlanta, none of these series are going to be easy. Toronto, none of these series are going to be easy. So you're better off just seeing that you can play good basketball, trying to line yourself up to play somebody. Baby, you asking for trouble.
Tim, we talked earlier a little bit about Harden and Mitchell, how they have their playoff demons. I'm watching last night in that third quarter. It looks good. Do you think this is the year they exercise those demons and they do it together?
They're not